One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Yo. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 12th of May. This is the Department of the Air Force's kind of news that public affairs curates and then sends out to commanders and chiefs. But apparently, after talking to one of the commanders, they're not on the list. So we've got to get that rectified. And then also, more people have got to get a hold of this, really, is what it comes down to. But anyway, we have 4 more spots left on this coming Operator Training Summit in San Diego, June 21st and 22nd. 4 more slots. We're talking 12 hours in the pool, 12 hours straight of getting your mind right, learning underwater efficiency, mask and snorkel recovery, clearing your mask, bobbing, treading water. What else are we going to do? We're going to do some buddy breathing. We're going to do some traveling, which if you're familiar with bobbing and drown proofing, that's part of it. So we got 12 hours scheduled for you to get better in the pool. And then on the first day, we're going to have the mad scientist out there teaching running, rucking, calisthenics, and obviously Aaron, Trent, and I will be out there. And then we've got, Chris isn't able to make this one, but we do have a PJ that is going to come out who may or may not have been on Ninja Warrior or whatever that show is called. So anyway, this is your joint news. Cybersecurity for the F-47. Contractors must adopt the DoD security maturity model certification and zero trust measures to safeguard the F-47 next generation air dominance fighter from cyber threats during its design phase. Acting DoD Chief Information Officer Katie Arrington emphasized that the CMMC certification ensures companies can protect sensitive data from adversaries like China who previously capitalized on U.S. research and development. Dude, you know that there are some spies that are for sure going to try and steal IP, and whether that is by infiltrating through cyber means or if that is using blackmail to get some of the people working on this thing, like there's going to be not just the 47, but also the B-21 and then the CCAs. Like there's so many interested parties, I'll say, that want to get information on this. So yeah, they need to do some serious security measures to make sure that all that remains safe. Next, spectrum allocation for Golden Dome. The DoD requires exclusive access to the 3.1 to 3.45 gigahertz spectrum band to support the Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative, critical for national security and allied partnerships. However, the department is open to sharing other spectrum portions with commercial providers through dynamic spectrum to avoid compromising military capabilities. Sure, I guess. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know. A lot of you probably were tracking this, but back in the day, there were civilian GPS satellites and then there were military GPS satellites. And in order to use the military ones, you had to have a certain amount of encryption and that kind of stuff. And then in the end, we ended up just opening it back up because commercial satellites GPS satellites ended up getting better. And then the more satellites you have tracking, the more accurate your position is. And so once we start talking about, accuracy of weapons and that kind of stuff that are GPS reliant, more satellites and more data being inputted into that munitions, the better. Tricare disenrollment issue. Approximately 30,000 Tricare beneficiaries face disenrollment for failing to set up recurring payments by April 30th, with a reinstatement deadline of June 30th. Those using non-military payment methods must manually configure payments with TriWest and disenrolled beneficiaries may owe full costs for healthcare services received by this. Man, okay. Well, that actually means I need to go check mine too. I don't know if I've been disenrolled or not, and now I need to go check. So, look, see, I'm learning from this too. All right, next, Special Operations Doctrine update. The DoD is revising Special Operations Forces doctrine to focus on Indo-Pacific, emphasizing smaller, faster, and AI-enhanced teams for complex missions. Acting Assistant Secretary Colby Jenkins stressed the need for resilience and adaptability to maintain a competitive edge against evolving threats. Yeah, no kidding. I completely agree with you, Colby Jenkins. Next, drone threat detection at border. The U.S. Northern Command is deploying advanced radar systems to detect and track drone incursions by drug cartels along the U.S. Mexico border. Troops are also authorized to detain illegal trespassers in designated national defense areas in New Mexico and Texas. Cool, moving on. DEI policy changes in the military. Starting with the 2026 admissions cycle, military service academies must adopt merit-based admissions, eliminating race, ethnicity, sex considerations, etc. Additionally, all DoD libraries are required to remove books addressing diversity, equity, inclusion by May 21st, guided by a temporary academic libraries committee. All right, so I'm going to cut this in half. The service academies, to include the military, should have always been merit-based, admissions-based, and not have to do with race, ethnicity, or sexual preference or anything like that, right? It should have always been merit-based. The fact that we have to say that shows you that it wasn't and it was broken. Like, this is wild to me that we even have to say that, and that has to be put into policy. Okay, now on the other side of that, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like the social media purge that happened a couple months ago with DoD organizations and on social media, where they went back through and they started purging all the DEI content that they had. Like, in my opinion, I think it should have stayed up, and not for the reason that you're thinking. I know that other people would think like, oh, you just want to stay up and that kind of stuff. No, that's not why, because I support it. I wanted to stay up because I am not a fan of erasing or manipulating history. Whether it's good history or bad history, I think it should be noted that there was a time that the military went woke and these policies were set in place and these policies were being championed. So I think keeping it up personally is the right answer. Now, when it starts coming to, academically based things, like I still think it might be important to learn about, because if you ignore your history, you're doomed to repeat it. But like, I don't know. And I know Aaron and Trent may or may not disagree with me on this. Some of you may or may not disagree with me on this, but that's just that's my 2 cents. All right. This is Air Force news. New Readiness Metrics system, Air Combat Commandos. New Readiness Informed Metric System tracks aircraft availability and generation requirements using simple whole numbers. This system enhances commanders' ability to assess and meet force readiness demands for combatant commanders. Readiness Informed Metrics, RIM. I don't know if that's actually the name for it, if that's just what they're calling it right now. I haven't heard of this system yet, so I don't know. Maybe it hasn't been fielded yet. It must not be, because we're still using other programs right now that I'm tracking anyway. All right, CCA sustainment study. The Mitchell Institute study urges the Air Force to prioritize field sustainment and common weapon systems for collaborative combat aircraft to ensure continuous operational capability. Discussions with the developers like Anduril and General Atomics focus on standardizing components to enhance interoperability. All right, next, cruise missiles for Reapers. Air Force Special Operations Command is exploring equipping MQ-9 Reapers and OA-1K Skyraider 2s with cruise missiles such as the Black Arrow to extend strike capabilities. The initiative, described as aspirational, aims to provide combatant commanders with long-range precision strike options. I mean, okay, that is a pretty cool capability in theory. I I don't necessarily know why you would put an I can actually see the argument for putting it on MQ-9s for cruise missiles, assuming that it can carry it, which I'm sure it can, or else they wouldn't even think about it. Because we have MQ-9s everywhere, and it's real easy if one happens to be up. Not that I think that they're going to be cruising around with these things as part of their standard combat load. If you put a cruise missile on an MQ-9, it's probably going to be for a very good reason, a very specific mission. But I don't know. I don't know why you'd want one on an OA-1K. I actually think that thing might struggle to carry it very far. And the aircraft itself has no aerial refuel capability. So, I don't know. It's aspirational for sure, to say the least. I don't know the operational capability and realism that it would have. But what do I know, right? I'm not a Skyraider pilot. I'm not an MQ-9 pilot. Although I do work with some in trying to get an OA-1K pilot on who's at AFSOC, but he seems to think that public affairs makes decisions, whereas public affairs just advises. So all of you public affairs people, remember, you advise, and some of you are really good people. Some of you aren't, right? You advise. Commanders and other people make decisions. All right. Number 4, Air Force One delivery adjustments. Boeing's proposed timeline could deliver the VC-25 Bravo Air Force One by 2027 if requirements are adjusted, potentially 2 years ahead of schedule. The Air Force is collaborating with the White House and Boeing to finalize these requirements. I haven't seen any of these requirements, the original or the adjusted, so no clue what they look like. Number 5, or next rather, childcare hour reduction. Eglen Air Force Base's Child Development Center is cutting daily hours from 12 to 10 due to staffing shortages, reflecting broader DoD challenges. This reduction may erode confidence in military child care availability, impacting family support systems. This is true. It sounds silly that 2 hours one way or the other, right? Moving 2 hours left or 2 hours right. But it makes all the difference when people are doing shift work, when people have got mill-to-mill spouses or military-to-military spouses that are, um, uh, working shift work and everything like that. So, when we start talking about the goodness of these hiring freezes and the goodness of the Doge stuff, right? It's never 100% good, right? This is one of the issues. This is one of the negatives when it comes to the hiring freeze, right? And this is just CDC, their child care development place, or child development care center, right? Or whatever it's called. There's other organizations and other people that are in operational and training and education that are hurting because of these hiring freezes. So again, I support it. It's just this negative outcome of it. All right, search and rescue dog retirement. The DoD's only search and rescue dog, Callie, retired after 6 years, having supported disaster recovery with 750 flight hours and 15 freefall jumps. Her handler, Master Sergeant Rudy Parsons, noted Callie's significant positive impact on his life and service. Okay, so if you guys didn't know this, we had Rudy and Callie on the show several years ago when she was still active duty, and it was awesome. Awesome to see. Rudy's a great handler, a great PJ, and then Callie was just fantastic. She was just laying on the bed in the back, just enjoying her ball. If I remember right, I think she was squeaking on a ball. So awesome capability. Congratulations on your retirement, Callie. You've made a difference, and you worked your ass off when you were out there rescuing people. So well deserved. Enjoy that bone. All right, Space Force news. Space as a contested domain. The Space Force is prioritizing space superiority, recognizing space as a warfighting domain critical to multi-domain operations. A new doctrine, Space Warfighting, a Framework for Planners, outlines strategies to counter adversaries' space capabilities, supported by a defense-focused administration. I always thought that we considered space as a warfighting domain. I always thought that we considered it that. I didn't realize that we just now are, or maybe the way that they've written this is incorrect. But I know me and the homies have always thought of it as a warfighting domain. Anyway, next, China's space threat. China's advanced space-enabled military poses a growing threat to the U.S. and allied forces, requiring a robust space defense, according to retired General John Raymond. The U.S. maintains a lead in space through alliances and partnerships with ongoing efforts to address orbital debris and enhance acquisitions. All right, this is of interests. India-Pakistan ceasefire violation already. Explosions in the Indian Kashmir followed a ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan, marking the worst hostilities in nearly 30 years. India accused Pakistan of violating the ceasefire, while Pakistan denied the claims, with trade suspensions and visa cancellations remaining in effect. Sorry, Pakistan and the people that are out there. I don't know. Sorry if I don't believe you that you didn't know that it happened, or that you're denying claims of the attack. Like, you kind of lost the credibility advantage there. All right, number 2, hypersonic navigation tech. Northrop Grumman successfully tested an inertial measurement unit on the Talon A hypersonic vehicle, enabling navigation in GPS-denied environments. The tests conducted in December and March marked progress in reusable hypersonic technology for the DoD. Reusable. My God. I wonder how I wonder how that works if it's reusable. It's not like a SpaceX, Falcon 9 that's going up into space, dropping off its payload and coming back down and landing. A hypersonic vehicle is meant to, explode at the end of that. So, I don't know. All right, next, senior officer staff concerns. Reducing general officer staff rather than their positions would yield greater cost savings for the DoD, as joint and interagency staff have expanded significantly since World War II. The Goldwater-Nichols Act's removal of staff caps and new entities for the Space Force have driven the growth of senior leadership roles. We got a lot of general officers. There is no questioning that. All right, last one. Base closure risks. Closing U.S. military bases via base realignment and closure, or bracking, could weaken readiness by isolating the military from communities and reducing recruitment opportunities. Fewer bases may also create larger targets for adversaries and exacerbate housing issues, threatening the all-volunteer force sustainability. I completely disagree with everything in this. It will not hurt. It will. Okay, so are we in a recruiting crisis? I don't know. I think we're more in a retention crisis, but and I use the word crisis lightly, but some of these bases are really small. And if they don't have a mission, we're just keeping them open, and it's wasting money and it's wasting time of the service members. They're not recruiting from that community. If you want to reach a larger audience, you have got to step out of the traditional recruitment lines that the Air Force and the DoD has always stayed to. And hey, would I love to get a contract from the Air Force or Air Force Recruiting Service or Air Force Special Warfare to continue on doing this? Absolutely, I would. Pay me. We would love it. Okay. And imagine if we could get paid by them, how much better our production and how more frequently we could do stuff, and we could do events, and it would be cost free to you. Right. So, one is, going on to that, it does not reduce recruitment opportunities. I mean, that percentage is not zero, right? But it's minimal. When you start talking about how much each one of these bases costs us, it's unfreaking real. And that includes the 20 or 30 bases we have in Germany, whatever it is, if you count the Air Force bases and the Army bases. There are small little postage stamps of Army posts in Germany. Like, it's wild. And I know that we've reduced them, but we could probably reduce them even more. However, I don't want to take away the chance for you guys to serve in Germany. Like, I get it. I empathize with you. Like, it's awesome over there. But If we want to get serious as an Air Force and as a Department of Defense about cutting savings, like bracking some bases, should be on the list. And the very first one should be Cannon Air Force Base. Shout out to all my Cannon Air Force Base folks out there. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you are interested in joining us at the Operator Training Summit in June, 4 slots left as of this recording. We'll see how many people have hopped on now. And come join us. Leave us a comment if you want to join. Later.